Israel 1 through 12. What you know about it? King talk. Follow me. They taught us lies and chased the image of his greatness. Gave us religion and it was off to the races. You got your idols and you wanna play your favorites. Same color, don't matter, your mind frame's basic. I kick truth and cover all bases. I'm talking facts and you wanna call me racist. I'm in the game with a handful of aces. Explore Job 9:24 and peep the fakeness. The cave vandals change their faces, a damn shame. False image in your picture frame. It's not a game, the ignorance got my spirit inflamed. I'm talking renaissance. You prance around like a debutante. Prideful and ignorant, the spirit of people love to flaunt. It's carte blanche when we set up shop on your block. To teach the word, the cream rises to the top. Got my feet firm in the pavement. Taking out these zombies, witches, and these pale-faced cavemen. And don't provoke or get hung like my hat and my coat. You heard Christ was white, but that was just the hope. Studs and fringes in my fatigue coat. And we hope to eliminate all wickedness, but suckers keep bumping their gums, sounding ridiculous. You wanna know who it is? It's a IQAhmath, first name, the rest of y'all the straight lane. Here we go, I gotta let you know, I keep it 100, you keep it COINTELPRO. Whoa, so don't even trip, I got a sword in my hand, I ain't scared to let it rip. I'm here to let you know, I keep it 100, you keep it COINTELPRO. Whoa, so don't even trip, I got a sword in my hand, I ain't scared to let it rip. It's time to get rid of you, trapped in the black mirror. Subject to political theater, you won't hear the sound of the trumpet. Load the clip and dump it. There's no touching the Most High's beloved. These niggas want me to stop teaching, change the subject. My mood fluctuates up and down like your budget. Here's a little nugget, cash it in if you like. In the world of darkness, the only light you got is Christ. I'm trapped in hell, but I meditate calmly. Don't follow crowds, I'm avoid you zombies. Giving my fringes, to hell with Abercrombie. My conscience clear, fear won't allow me to break the mold. Follow the globe, to teach laws and commandments, I ain't breaking the code. Slaves bought and sold, identity never told. It's hard to stay hot in a world so cold. This shit is sad, grown men dressed in drag. Hitting with the law, them niggas be hauling ass. Catfish on the gram wearing a mask, trying to gather this 1/3 for sure is a tough task, but I stay focused, giving hope to the hopeless. Kwame Yasha Allah's the slogan, so take notice. Plague a locust to those with bogus motives. Bury him 6 feet deep to smell the roses. Here we go, I gotta let you know, I keep it 100, you keep it COINTELPRO. Whoa, so don't even trip, I got a sword in my hand, I ain't scared to let it rip. I'm here to let you know, I keep it 100, you keep it COINTELPRO. Whoa, so don't even trip, I got a sword in my hand, I ain't scared to let it rip.
Well, well, well. well. Shalom to the 12, man. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom to the family, man. What's going on, y'all? It's your brother Ahmath. I acquire first name. IQ is all the same. How's everybody doing? We done made it to the next Sabbath, to our next day of rest. All praises. I was doing a little poll just a minute ago, trying to figure out if who else was not getting notified. Who else didn't get notified? It's my own damn. It's my own live, man, and YouTube did notify me, and I had the notifications on. So you already know what time it is, man. The BS is already in full flare. Most people didn't get notified until I just went live directly. The notifications are supposed to go out 30 minutes ahead of time, and apparently a few of us did not get it. Put a 7 in the chat if you got the notification 30 minutes early. Put a 3 in the chat if you did not. Just doing a little poll, doing a little research, trying to find out what's good. Let me know. Let me know. That's right, my brother Lee. There you go. I'm trying to keep it 100, man. Other than that, there's a lot of folly that goes on within Israel. It's COINTELPRO activity happening out there. COINTELPRO activity, man. Shalom to the house of Byron and the Robinsons, man. Blessings to y'all on Shabbat. Shabbat shalom to my brother Ashar. Namawan family, y'all already know what time it is. Shalom to y'all, brother Jackson. Shalom to you. Shalak in the house. Shalom to you, good brother. Oh, no surprises there. Didn't get it. My sister Rosemary, She didn't get it. And Tawada, for your generous alms deeds that you sent to us, my sister, greatly appreciate it. It's going to help us continue on with the mission. I'm glad that you find the edification through the content that we provide. Appreciate your donation. Another three didn't get it. Coab. Oh, another three didn't get it. My brothers up in the Pacific Northwest didn't get it. My elder didn't get it. Very interesting. Another one didn't get it. So looking at everybody's notifications, about two of y'all so far got notified that I was going live. Not when I went live right at 11, but I'm talking about an early notification, 30 minutes ahead of time. You should have got notified saying I'll be live at 11 at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. Only two of y'all so far. Shalak. Okay, the matrix is working for you then. Let me take this banner off. See, look at that. Look at that. Well, you already know how this is gonna go. You already know how YouTube is getting ready to act the damn fool, man. You know, maybe they know what I'm getting ready to go into, man. They must have seen the thumbnail. They must have looked at the titling and said, we got to stop this. We can't do it. Who knows? Who knows, man? But you know the Friday's in full effect. If you have not already, man, do your brother that good solid and wipe your feet, man. You came into the house. I know y'all good and faithful. Know what time it is, but you know, there's something to come in on the back end. I don't even know if y'all can see this. Hold on, let me see if I can get it. Let me see. Yeah, I don't need to prove it. Y'all know. I got my phone up. It's still saying notification is on, and nothing came through on my phone. So you know, this is what it is. It is what it is. All right. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, White Howard Shah, man. Another blessed Sabbath, man. Glad to see everybody was able to at least jump on in, knowing what time it is. Um, but we got to keep it moving. Got to keep it moving. A lot to cover today, short amount of time. So we're going to get right to the business at hand. Again, if you did not wipe your feet, some of y'all didn't wipe your feet. Some of y'all in here straggling in, peeking in, you know, opening the doors, looking in. What y'all eating? You know what we eating over here? Good food. Come on in. There's plenty of room. All right. Just wipe your feet. That's all I ask. Wipe your feet, hit the like button. Let's get this algorithm going. You already know YouTube is already shutting down the notification. So how else are we going to get this word out, man? I need the cooperation of the family, if you please. Share, like, subscribe, all that cliche stuff that they say to do on YouTube. I understand it's real because y'all know the shadow ban is in full effect over here. But nonetheless, man, hopefully everybody's solid, man. The Quab, shalom to you, my brother. Shabbat shalom to you and the fam. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and get the show on the road. Like I said, a lot to cover, short amount of time. Let me blow this thing up some. Okay. Oh, it'd be nice if I shared, huh? Boo, yeah. All right, cool. All right, Shabbat Shalom to you, Diz the Wiz. Good to see you made it in, my sister. Good to see you made it in. Well, that's ironic, man. I mean, I use the same mic all the time, man, but you know, it is what it is. You know what it is, man? It's because of the background usually kind of distorts it so you can't see it. But I use the same thing, man. Maybe because it's a little bit closer um to me that it's more audible. But you know, appreciate it, my brother. Appreciate it. All right, family, let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. All right. So we're jumping right into the mix. Jumping right into the mix, man. We've been talking about and seeing a number of occasions how China, Russia are continuing their bonds in complete defiance of America. You know that there's a warrant. We know that there's a warrant out for Putin's arrest, right? Xi Jinping said, "F your warrant. I'm going to go holler at my buddy, my good white zaddy, and we're getting ready to compound a comprehensive plan for the world to see, in particular America, to show them how, quote unquote, change is coming." And they said that this particular change hasn't happened in 100 years. So I'm not sure historically what marker they're setting this on to say the type of changes that they're looking at trying to make in the world hasn't been done in 100 years. So we're talking 100 years from right now. What's that? 1893 or 1923? What happened in 1923? Let's see. What was going on in 1923? I wonder if there was a war going on in 1923. Oh, let's see. I'm just wondering. Don't mind me. So 1914, 1918. Nope. So that wasn't what he's talking about. Uh, we know the Roaring Twenties was a situation in the 1919 to 19 almost 1930 before the Great Depression hit and the complete collapse of world economies. We do know that they're building an economic system known as the BRICS system, right? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and many more are joining the fray. Let's read it. Shaking hands as the Chinese president left the imperial palace, Xi said via an interpreter, "Change is coming that hasn't happened in 100 years, and we are driving this change together." Putin replied, "I agree," before his counterpart bid him farewell, saying, "Please take care, dear friend." Look how close they are. And we've talked about the relationship between Moab and Edom. They've decided that they're rolling with Moscow. They're rolling with, uh, the Moabites of China and their king. They're rolling with Putin under that regime. They're not joining hands with America. That's obvious. The only thing that they're dealing with America again is with import exports, buying of U.S. Treasury bonds and whatnot, still upholding, the U.S. economy. We've covered that in Second Ezra 15 about them being the hope of Babylon and trying to be like a daughter to them. You know, so either way, Moab is always in a constraint where they have to deal with Esau. Esau still is ruling the world. Esau still is a number one, the wicked that's controlling the earth. There's no question about it. Let's we know Job. Let's read the classic real quick. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So we know that the earth is being controlled by a wicked force, wicked entity. I went over it maybe it was it last weekend, last Sabbath. We're showing that, the correlation between Satan having control over all the dominions of the earth and the dragon gave power to the beast, which was Esau under the regime of the Greeks and the Romans when they took over the earth. Now we see that they're in control of the earth. That is not a transferable to the so-called Moabites. How do we know that? Moab swears he's going to be the next founding father, the next dynasty to rule. No. How do we know that? Second Ezra 6:9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Jacob has next. Jacob has next. Like what's the brothers over there at HOI say, we got next? Yeah. It's not Moab. They don't have next. They can't make moves unless they negotiate and deal with Babylon. They can't make no moves unless Babylon has something to say about it. They're in the shadows of they're in the shadows of Babylon. They ain't jumping unless a Edomite gives them say so. This is why they have to deal with Edom. So whether they camouflage themselves as Russians, Slovakians, French, British, American, Australian, they're all the same. They're all the same. We know that. Okay. And Asia has to deal with them. See that? Second Ezra 15:46. And thou, Asia, thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon and art the glory of her person. Only thing they can do is provide hope, inspiration, and support for Babylon. They're partakers. They're not controllers. They join unto. They don't lead. All right. So they're compounding a whole plan to overtake America. And as they shake hands and call themselves dear friends, there's a warrant out for Putin's arrest. What clearly China is in defiance of that warrant. He's not listening to the international court saying you should be well, obviously, he flew to Moscow. He ain't gonna arrest him in his own country. But what else is he supposed to do? Could he rat him out and be like, yo, I got him here. Send the authorities. He's not gonna do that. So excuse me, that was an open act of defiance to the world and to the international court saying, we ain't cooperating. If you want him, you're going to have to come get him. And we're going to stand right by him. So come get both of us if that's the case. Let's continue. Look at this. What I'm getting ready to look at is, and what we're going to look at is the separation of powers. People are now backing away from America. America is losing its luster, which is prophesied. How do we know that America is going to lose its luster? Because the scriptures let us know. I believe it's in Mark 3. Let me make sure. Yeah. Mark 3. Let's read 24 and 25. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. So we know USA, under Satan's authority, is controlled by Satan. This place is being controlled by demonic spirits, is being controlled by demonic influence, satanic and adversarial methodologies and ideologies that go against biblical principles. I think the Robinsons, y'all sent me an article regarding them removing, I think it was the 10 Commandments out of the schools or any biblical references out of the schools in South Carolina. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'm going off of memory. I do remember that there was a article that y'all sent me regarding that. But that's just a clear indication. They got Baphomet statues, after school programs for Satanists. We're talking Baphomet statues in Detroit, Baphomet statues in where else was it? I want to say in Kansas City. But this is Satan. But now it's America is divided against itself. You're seeing constant warfare between the Republicans and the Democrats. Even though they're two sides of the same coin, they're utilizing a struggle for power. That's one thing for sure. Is Esau is always lustful for power. He doesn't care if he goes against himself. It's about who wins. You understand? Let's go back to the history of the Greeks. After Alexander had passed away, he passed on his kingdom to his four main generals: Lysimachus, Cassander, Ptolemy, and Seleucid. And they had wars. And there was another one, Antigonus. There was 5, but Antigonus ended up getting conquered by the Seleucids. So it wound up being really 4 generals. Okay, that's what was known as the Diadochi Wars. They were all fighting for supreme power. They're all the same people. You would think that they want a unified, government, unified empire, so forth and so on. No, they were all. The scriptures tell you in Second Ezra, in First Maccabees, that they all put crowns on their heads. They all created kingdoms and dynasties and were fighting for power amongst themselves. I didn't really mean to go here, but now I'm mentioning it. We'll go there real quick. This is First Maccabees, chapter 1. And we're going to read 4 down to 6. It says, and he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. This is speaking about Alexander. Verse 5. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Some say he was poisoned. Others were of the belief and understanding that he had contracted sexually transmitted diseases that accelerated his death. So choose whichever one the historians want to say. I'm choosing the one that uh, led him to befall through sexually transmitted diseases because of the lifestyle that he was living with his gay lovers and boys around him and all kind of madness. Verse 6. Wherefore he called his servants such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So this is where the servants, speaking about his generals, were taking over. Now he had multiple generals, but there was four main ones that stood out and maintained dynasty rules. Okay, for the most part, the biggest of the two were the Seleucids and the Ptolemies. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So this is obviously the Greeks, the kingdom of Idumea, the so-called white man. Once he gets control, look what happens. Evils get multiplied in the earth. Job 9:24, ring a bell? Hello? But look at this. After he died, they all put crowns upon themselves. So now you're seeing a struggle for power. So that's why we see within you know, Esau's governmental structure, we know that they're two wings of the same bird, or whatever analogy you want to use, but there is a real struggle for power because everyone wants to be the king. Everybody wants to rule. So they have no problem backstabbing each other. I mean, look at the history with Rome. Look at how Esau gets down, man. The proverbial dog eat dog world, survival of the fittest, so forth. He lives by those rules, man. He don't give a damn if he got to stab his own people in the back, choke out, poison, kill, assassinate his own, so that the other can, gain power. He's gonna do that. So this is why America has an end. Because in one instance, you got the Republicans saying, no, we can't increase the budget. We're going to break the country. The Democrats are saying, no, print up more money. You got one side saying, slow Biden is an unfit president. We need to take him down. We're bringing up charges on him. We're trying to impeach him. The other half is still riding for Trump. I mean, it's all over the place. America's completely divided. They're divided about being able to use natural gas, or should we all be on clean energy and utilizing windmills and everything else. I mean, there's complete division. The educational system is divided through the politics. I mean, you got divisions of war just even over food. You got the damn, carnivores against the omnivores against the vegetarians against the meat eaters. The meat eaters, I mean, even amongst the vegans, it's like, well, I'm a pescatarian. I don't eat no meat. I just eat fish and vegetables. Oh no, I'm full vegan. I'm just nothing but fruits and vegetables and blah blah blah. And then the next one is, well, I'm a raw vegan. I don't even cook my food. What about you? You know, there's always some sort of divisive nature that goes on, man, within this place. And that's how we know that this place is going to have an end. And when it's over with, Jacob is going to be the next kingdom that rules under the king, Hamashiach Yahushua. No damn Moabites are going to be doing it. But they out there fronting and acting like they're going to be the next power. But as we're seeing the downfall of America and their power struggle, the influence that the great whore has had on the world is now diminishing. Everybody ain't looking at her like the hot little thing on the block no more. Everybody ain't looking like hearing the rumors of how good she is. And, you know, this ain't Friday Night Lights, but you know what I'm saying. And the rest of the nations are saying, I want some. I want to try. How much? Now we're seeing that back away as many of the nations are departing. Look, even Latin America, we are for peace. Latin America rejects pleas to send weapons to Ukraine. Remember, I told you, Slow Biden was running around shaking down all of their allies and saying, we need everybody on board supporting this war, send weapons to Ukraine. The UK is over there almost damn near out of weaponry because they've been sending everything. Germany, we shook them down. They didn't want to send them tanks, shook them down, made them send the tanks. Poland, they didn't want to get too much more involved, made them send the planes. America went and sent what they sent. Ukraine, NATO was still supplying weapons. They got multiple countries around them helping. So they went to Latin America. They told them, hey, we need y'all to go ahead on and help. And they said, that's not going down. And one of the countries that they went to was Brazil, which is part of the BRICS. You see where I'm going with this? So now even the Latin American countries are telling America, F off. We're looking over to the east for our allegiances now. The offer from the U.S. sounded appealing if Latin American nations donated their aging Russian-made military kit to Ukraine. So they said, just get rid of the old weapons that Russia gave you, and we'll replace it with new, improved stuff. You see how they always, try to seduce and get people to try to follow along with this? Ecclesiastes 7. Ooh, they're going to make me spell it out. I'm not doing that. Ecclesiastes. Let's go to 7. Y'all know this one. This is a classic one. 7 and 7. Ecclesiastes 7 and 7. Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. See, the nations are waking up now. The little trinkets and the little gifts that America presents and saying, hey, here. Hold on. My bad, y'all. Tell me I'm not sharing. I'm not sharing. What's going on? What happened? This thing is supposed to be sharing. Slacky, y'all. Wow. Slacky, y'all. I can't even believe that. All right. Is that better? Tell me we solid now. My apologies, family. My apologies. I always do that. I get too hyped up, man. I get too excited. I'm ready to ride. And I forget. I forget. So let me just show y'all the first article I was talking about. Hopefully y'all just was listening in to what I was saying. Hopefully y'all was listening at least. Right. But here we see Xi Jinping telling his quote, dear friend Putin, change is coming as he leaves Moscow. Right. So I looked at, when was World War One? It was from 1914 to 1918. So that wasn't what he's talking about. But we do know war is coming. But we can't make that parallel. We know that the economy was definitely changed during the Roaring Twenties. Matter of fact, I did a lesson on uh, the parallels between the quote unquote Roaring Twenties with 100 years ago with today. I think I did the lesson in 2020, 2021, something like that. But I did a lesson on it and showed all of the comparisons in regards to how we're moving in that same spirit. And once you see at the end of the Roaring Twenties, what ended up happening? 1919, you had the Spanish flu. What do we have in 2019? You know what they called it. The DVOC 91. Remember that? So there was a similar flu situation that went down. The essences of war were still happening, just coming off of that. Then we went into economic boom. Oh, everybody was getting stimulus. Everybody was getting money. The stock markets was booming. Everything was happy. People was partying. The Ford car was introduced in early mid 1920s. What are they talking about now? Oh, electric cars. They want to change everything. Technology. The vacuum cleaner was made. Now what do they got? AI vacuum cleaners where they can just, put it on the ground and it'll sweep up everything for you. There's a lot of parallels that went on 100 years ago that's happening right now. And then if you look at what happened in the end, Great Depression, crash, famine, starvation, death happened during that time. So you can only imagine the road that we're going down right now. If there's any parallel to the two, we should be able to put two and two together and know the future within the next, 5 to 7 years is bleak. And that's not to be doom and gloom. I mean, hey, that's what the Most High said. The Most High said, happy days is not here again. If we need this kingdom to be up out of here, man, it's got to be gone through various methods. Famine, pestilence, plague, earthquake, war. And then we can move on into happy days. All right. So this is the first article I showed. This was the next one. This is where I was at right now. We're seeing here that the Latin American countries are now rejecting America's pleas for help. They want them on board. They want Colombia on board. They want Brazil on board. They want Argentina on board. They want all of them on board with this war, showing solidarity with America and NATO. They're backing away. They're saying, nope, we ain't doing it. We're not doing it. So the luster of America is dwindling. The nations now are turning their back on them. We looked at, hopefully y'all can go back, check out the scriptures I was covering. I covered Mark 3, First Maccabees. I see. Dang it. Now I'm going to go. I said I wasn't going to, I'm trying to be precise with this, but I'm being long-winded. So I went here showing at the end of the America is coming. Second Ezra's, precepting this was Second Ezra 6, I believe, in the 7th verse, where it says Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Why and how do we see that America is going to be coming to an end? Because America is divided on so many fronts, and there's so many gaps within America that it will fall. Right now, we're seeing why the nations are losing confidence in America. They no longer want to be a part of this Babylonian demonic system. Problem is they're just trying to think they're joining to the next system of the so-called white man, being led by Putin, even though he's allowing Xi Jinping to, be the face card of it, only because he's in the midst of war right now, so he can't run around, being the face of the BRICS. You don't never really hear about Brazil, India, or South Africa, spearheading and being the face cards of this BRICS movement. No, it's China and Russia. And because Russia is preoccupied with this proxy war that's going on, this little civil war that's going on, China has to step to the forefront, but under the guidance of Putin. Okay. Obadiah 1. And let's just read verse 7. It's talking about the downfall of Esau. Okay. Let's read this. Who's it talking about? Edom. Obadiah 1. Many of y'all read this. If you're in the truth, this had to have been one of the first chapters that you read. It's only one chapter. You know what I'm saying? This is the one that gives us all hope, keeps us inspired, keeps us moving. Right? Verse 1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Most High Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. So the kingdom of Edom and all its constituents will be getting risen up against by the heathen. Who's a heathen? Verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound unto thee. There is none understanding in them. So how do we know about who's eating thy bread? Revelation 18 tells us all the nations that drunk the wine of the wrath of the fornication, they're all eating deliciously off of the resources and everything that Babylon has provided them. They're all coming over here, living the American dream. All the imports, the exports, the stock exchanges, everything else, the businesses being set up, the loans that's being put out. America's sustaining. We just read last week that America, within their budget, had to go send Guam some money to make sure that they stayed ready in the event war popped off with North Korea. So this is all of the things that they're taking from and receiving from America. And now they're saying, oh, they're eating their bread, but they're going to lay a wound under them. Why? Because they're going to turn their back on America. They're not going to be dealing with America anymore. Let me read one more. What's up with this? Proverbs 18. Let's see this. Proverbs 18 and 12 says, before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility. So look at this. Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty. So we know the pride goeth before destruction. So even we're seeing here the pride of Esau, the pride of America, the pride of this great whore, man, is at its all-time high. They run around talking about, don't worry, nothing can come our way to destroy us. The banks are failing, they're crashing all over the place, the economy's on edge, and they're saying, don't worry, your money's safe. We've got everything under control. Nothing can rock America. Oh, you know what? We can go ahead and command the rest of these nations, to get bailed out over here, or we can, send more weapons over here to keep fueling these wars. China had this 12-point plan to try to establish peace with, Russia and Ukraine, but NATO and America said, no, we're not doing that. There is no peace. There's just going to be war. You understand? So we're seeing the haughty spirit of America being puffed up. Slow Biden still walking around here, falling all over the place, launching drone strikes. I mean, they in full effect, man. America, they got their nose to the ear. I mean, nose to the sky, acting like they itch don't stink, and everybody else is looking around saying, look at all of this that's happening in America. Look at what's happening in the world under the guidelines of the so-called white man. All hell is breaking loose globally, and he's still acting like he's got it under control. He ain't got nothing under control at all. The Most High is controlling everything, man. He's gonna crash and burn straight to hell. So let's look at this. Shalakia, the offer from the U.S. sounded appealing, and that's when I just noticed I wasn't sharing. We was at Ecclesiastes about the gift destroyed the heart. It was at Ecclesiastes 7. Let's look at that one. 7:7. Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. So the nations now are not being intrigued, and they're not getting tickling their fancies with these little meagerly gifts and money and things like that America's always been offering. Resources. And they're like, no, we can get it from Russia and China. They're the new wave. They've got the new thing coming in. We have more confidence in what they're building than what America's doing. That's what's going to draw America into war. America is not going to let all of their resources, all of their quote unquote Johns or tricks, since we're talking street politics with a harlot on the streets, and that's what America is being known as. Right? They're not going to let all of them run off to the new pimp or the new madam. They'd rather fight than to give it all up. So you think that America is going to let Russia and China control all the South American countries? There's rumors about Mexico wanting to join the BRICS. If Mexico joins the BRICS, you could forget about it. The border, done deal. You're talking about them being able to parlay and set up military bases over here under that auspices. And Mexico's like the second or third largest economy in South America. I mean, amongst the Latin countries. So if they get a hold of that money, those resources, and get closer to America's borders, America's gonna flip their wigs, man. This is why they're saying, well, you know what? America's going to be drawing a line and it's going to be acknowledging, look, if you're not with us, you're against us. Just like I've always said, and quoting Baby Bush, if you're not with us, you're with the terrorists. This is what it is. So this is why we're seeing the nations are all making their choices. So a gift destroying the heart, man. Look what America's trying to offer them. The offer from the U.S. sounded appealing. If Latin American nations donated their aging Russian-made military kit to Ukraine, Washington would replace it with superior American weaponry. But far from taking up the U.S. proposal, which was revealed last month by General Laura Richardson, head of the U.S. Southern Command, Latin America's leaders lined up to denounce it. Even if they end up as scrap in Colombia, we will not hand over Russian weapons to be taken to Ukraine to prolong a war. Colombia's left-wing president Gustavo Petro responded, "We are not on either side. We are for peace. Brazil has no interest in passing on munitions to be used in the war between Ukraine and Russia." President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva said, "Brazil is a country of peace. At this moment, we need to find those who want peace," a word that so far has been used very little. So they're not going against Russia. They clearly are lining up telling America, F off. We're not with it. F off. Nope, we ain't doing it. So lines are being drawn in the sand. Let's continue. Here's the new proposal. This is all the countries that's coming up against America and NATO. The new candidate countries for BRICS expansion. What's in the red is the current BRICS members. So we do know this is all Russia, China, India. Here's South Africa. Here's Brazil. So in the red, the orange are the countries who are applying or who have interest. And we're hearing and rumoring about Mexico wanting in. It's not up to date on here yet because right now it's rumored. But here you see Argentina all the way down here, Nicaragua, Senegal, Nigeria, Algeria, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Pakistan, or Kazakhstan. I mean Indonesian islands. They're all now look at the coalition. All of this against this, well, a little bit in here, which is still influenced by Russia and by Great Britain, in the interiors of Africa. You got this, Europe over here, America and Canada over here, and Australia against all the rest. This is all based upon economics, but economics can easily be translated into war. So who's lining up? Concerning a BRICS expansion, Lavrov stated that Algeria, Argentina, and Iran had all applied, while it is already known that Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Egypt, Afghanistan are interested, along with Indonesia, which is expected to make a formal application to join at the upcoming G20 summit in Bali. Other likely contenders for membership include Kazakhstan, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Senegal, Thailand, and the United Arab Emirates. All had their finance ministries present at the BRICS expansion dialogue meeting held in May. So we know, start taking away the finances and the resources that America has, the influence starts to diminish. They're not going to allow that to happen. That can only make them take a more aggressive approach. What do you think? We think that America is going to sit back and say, you know what? Fine, y'all won. Forget the dollar. We'll go ahead and scrap this, and we'll jump on your currencies now. You think America's ready to relinquish that power? No. The Bible don't even say that they'll relinquish power. The daughter of Babylon or Babylon is going to end up being ruled by another nation. No. The next ruler is the kingdom of Israel, the coming kingdom of Israel under Christ. So the last thing that can be left is for these nations to go to war. America's pushing for this CBDC, the central bank digital currency. They want to try to get rid of the cash. They want everybody in a digital scale. We talked about this, from the digital IDs to the social credit scores to all of that. That's the America's plan. Now the BRICS are saying we want to do something similar, but we're going to back ours by gold, by energy resources, by oil. Right now, America has no backing. It used to be backed by gold, not anymore. America has just created a debt system. All they do is just print up money and create debt. That's why it's over, what, $30 trillion in debt right now? All they do is just print up money and create debt and rise inflation. But they have the world operating off of the dollar. The dollar is good everywhere in the world, damn near. You can take it anywhere and can be exchanged. People have to deal with their exchanges. Businesses have to deal with their exchanges based upon the dollar and America's system and America's economy. That's the global backed economy is done by the dollar. This BRICS is saying everybody can leave the damn dollar. We're going to make our own. And look what it's backed by: natural resources, precious metals. This is why we're seeing a number of these different countries stacking up on gold. That's the one of the two resources that we read in the Bible that's still around. The dollar, where is that at? Is that in the Bible? Can we date that back? Or do we see that the eventual changing the currencies and the destruction of currencies always happens? So, think about that. But we're seeing here all the nations, man, they leaving. The confederacies, they all saying, look, we're tired of America. Speaking about Mexico, this is why America, they already starting the propaganda. You know, they publicized and did what they did with the four Jakes that came from South Carolina, saying that, you know, the sister went down there to go get a tummy tuck or to go get some a new butt. Who no, let me leave it. I think she went down there for the tummy tuck. That's what they said. Then they had other articles. Remember, I pulled it out. They were talking about maybe they was going down there to score on some drugs. I mean, come on. Either way, they made that high profile. Next thing you know, they're telling everybody, don't go to Mexico. Mexico, spring break. No, don't go there. It's too dangerous. The cartels is overran. Cartels run everything. You might die. Kidnaps. This is to give Mexico a fair warning. If you think about taking your lips off of the tit of this gray whore, we'll ruin you. Tourism, shut it down. Border, shut it down. Start booting out everybody and overrun, you know, their country with more inhabitants. Oh, they'll do it all. Find a reason to start a war down there based upon the cartels. Bomb the hell out of Mexico. Who knows? America has no boundaries when it comes down to the deception, disinformation, control. So now we're seeing already in the headlines, they're already starting to tell everybody, hey, stay away from Mexico. Look at this. Mothers of two Americans kidnapped 6 years ago. They waited 6 years to start publicizing this. 6 years ago in Mexico, plead for their safe return after fatal case of tummy tuck, four highlighted quiet epidemic of cartel abductions. So this is happening all the time. I mean, they ain't even talking about all of the child trafficking that went down under the Obama and Trump regime, all the missing kids that popped up crossing the border, separation of parents and kids down there at the detention centers, trying to cross the border. That was happening all under Trump and Biden, or I mean, Biden, Obama, and slow Biden, right? So now they're going to disparage the image of Mexico and saying, look, don't go down there. It's dangerous. Cartel's going to kill you. But meanwhile, Fast and Furious under Obama. Obama was the one sending the guns down there, claiming that they were going to use them to trace and track down the cartels. You know, put serial numbers on them so we can find out who's buying them and we can track them down. None of that happened. They were selling weapons to Mexico, man, giving them weapons, funding the cartels. I mean, if you guys watch Snowfall, good show, good series, which is loosely based on the life of Freeway Rick Ross. I remember Brother Ratazan and a few of us, other of us, had an interview with him back in the days. Had an interview with him. He gave us the whole game about what was going on, man. CIA utilizing drugs. He was getting his drugs from a CIA informant. I forgot the dude's name. Blandone, I think his name was. And the CIA absolutely knew what they was doing. They were selling the drugs, taking the money, helping fund the war in Nicaragua, giving the money to the rebels, trying to overthrow the government in Nicaragua. If y'all remember back in the 90s, Oliver North, all of that. So America's been involved with drug dealing. They had the troops over there in Afghanistan guarding the poppy fields. The poppy fields are being used to generate heroin. So they're involved in the drug trade. They're involved in selling the weapons. And all they're going to do is just say, you know what? We're going to just go ahead and say all of this is coming from you, Mexico. And they're going to be like, look, we've been partners in this all this time. How the hell are you going to turn your back on it? Well, you turned your back on us when you started talking about you wanted to go join the BRICS. So now we're going to automatically start smearing your name and disparaging the tourism that goes down there. We're going to cut that off first. And then we'll see where it goes from there. So that's why right now it's kind of rumored the Mexican president, he came out and talked big stuff against America. So, you know, we'll see where it goes. But why are they bringing this up 6 years ago? You understand what I'm saying? This is when they dig up old stuff and then they start publicizing saying, hey, remember the 4 tummy tuck victims? Well, here we found another one, and then another. This has always been going on, but now they're going to utilize it to weaponize it against Mexico until they submit and say, no, no, we changed our mind. All right, so let's continue. It's propaganda, you know. Nuclear warfare, China arming Russia, fears of a new Cold War rise. So we already know what time it is. They're stating the obvious. But the fact that these are part of the headlines that we've been reading for the last year and some change is a stark contrast in what we've ever seen in the last 50 to 40 years. You know, dating back to the Cold War during what was that? Under I forgot which president it was, but the Cuba Missile Crisis and all that other stuff, you know, they ain't heard this type of talk since then. The difference is that now it's even more serious scripturally because we see all of these other prophecies coming to pass all at the same time. I mean, you got tornadoes in California. I haven't seen that since I think it happened one other time that I can remember in like 2008 that they had a tornado. But this one was even worse. And I think that one was like down in Orange County or something like that. I got a little video of that. I'll show it in a minute. But anyway, the headlines is acknowledging nuclear warfare, China arming Russia, fears of a new Cold War. Moscow suspended a nuclear arms treaty, the possibility of China arming the Russian military, even as the U.S. and its allies celebrated this week that Russia has been thwarted thus far in its attempt to take over Ukraine. Certain developments could have repercussions far beyond what Kiev stays standing, whether Kiev stays standing. So this is the difference as well between the Cold War of old, China now being involved. All of the prophecies of the Bible being involved, all of the nations separating themselves from America. There is no more solidarity amongst America and its allies, you know, outside of NATO and Europe. But all of the other nations that's been, you know, feeding off of it, they're all like, you know what, I'm cool. If the last remaining arms treaty between the two world's largest nuclear powers collapses, there will be no limits on U.S. and Russian nuclear forces for the first time since the 1970s. The risk of nuclear launch, intentional or otherwise, would rise. A world without nuclear arms control is far more dangerous and an unstable one, said UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. And if China turns its economic and diplomatic support for Russia into a full-blown military assistance, it would be a major change in how China has approached foreign policy, supercharging the already high tensions between U.S. and China, making the world more dangerous. So, you know, we see where this is all headed. All prophetic, all going down the same lines of ending in World War III, the destruction of America, the deliverance of the children of Israel, the nations coming into subjection of under Christ and Israel, and us getting our kingdom back. Look at it. Why did Russia forgive 20 billion of debt to Africa? See how they're reeling them in. We know they already have bonds with South Africa. Now they're relieving the debt of the rest of some of the other African nations who they owe. This is why you've seen other nations like Nigeria, Algeria, and all of them trying to join the BRICS now. This is all plotting and planning. This is, you know, but this is a white man. He knows what he's doing under the name Putin. He's saying, okay, I need to get my allies together. Now, you would think if he's dealing with sanctions and hurting for money, he's going to need that 20 billion. And he's not going to let the African nations off. No, he's saying, no, hey, we're going to cancel over $20 billion of y'all debt. Are you with me? Are you with me? Well, let's look. We've read this before, but the more that it's relevant, the more that we need to pay attention. Ezekiel 38 and 5 regarding the war in Gog and Magog needing to be providing protection and a guard unto these nations. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them. All of them with shield and helmet. Let's look at Ethiopia. Ethiopia. Oh, look at this. Ethiopians hope to fight for Russia and Ukraine. That's just some YouTube video. Ethiopia-Russian relations. Are the relations between the two countries, Ethiopia and Russia? Both countries established diplomatic relations on April 21st, 1943. Russia currently has an embassy in Addis Ababa, and Ethiopia has an embassy in Moscow. It's clearly a relationship that goes on between them. Clearly a relationship that goes on between them. Thus saith the Lord. Ethiopia, Russia signed military cooperation agreement. Oh, isn't that special? How about Russia and Egypt? Well, I'm looking at Ethiopia. I'm looking beyond Ethiopia. I'm looking at Russia's influence on Africa in general. Ethiopia being a principal country in Egypt, in Africa. However, there's partnerships going on in various other parts of Africa. What's behind the partnership between Russia and Egypt? Oh, see, growing relation between Egypt and Russia, strategic alliance. So we're seeing here, why would Putin forgive $20 billion of debt to the Africans? Because he's already has established relationships with various countries in Africa, and they're signing military agreements. They're enhancing the economy. Some of them are getting ready to try to join the BRICS, bringing all of those precious resources from Africa, bringing it all the way back over there to him. He figures I can forgive you for 20 billion when I know you got lithium over there, when I know you got gold over there, I know you got oil over there. See, those are the resources that they want to use to back up the BRICS economy. Money, what's that going to do? They need the money to be valued and backed by something. They're utilizing resources that's tangible. Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, recently announced the cancellation of more than $20 billion in debt owed to African nations. This is just a portion of the foreign debt that has been forgiven in previous years. Russia has had a long-standing relationship with the Dark Continent, like many developed nations, but it has never treated Africans cruelly to achieve its goals like other nations have. Africa, and to a lesser extent, Asia and Latin America's obligations to the Soviet Union were forgiven by Russia. So you see how he's moving. He's like, that's why a gift destroyed the heart on both ends. He goes to these other nations. He's saying, look, y'all owe, but it can be forgiven. All you gotta do is kiss the ring and come on over here and join. And I'll treat you right. I'm the good master. Regardless of what regardless of what Western media says, you know, Mad Vlad and all that other stuff. He's the one saying, hey, you know what? Come on over here. I mean, if the Africans is out there saying, hey, he treats us better than America has. America done ramsacked and ran through all of our stuff. You understand? So he's forgiving debt. He's out here creating allies. Moscow showered money on allies governments throughout the Cold War, typically only asking for political allegiance in exchange. You see that? So he needs, uh, you know why they gonna call it a dark continent. Same reason why they call us black. But they'll politically say, the geopolitical thing is, oh, it's because the predominant race of people in there are dark skinned. They're playing nice. All right. But we see what he's doing out here, man. He giving people money for their political allegiances. Third world nations that indicated a desire to pursue socialism and support the USSR were the principal beneficiaries of Soviet financial and military assistance. See, the difference is, America will provide this assistance, but then they want to colonize. You know, Russia goes over there. Everybody in Africa, they ain't over there speaking Russian now, and they ain't got whatever. Everybody ain't drinking vodka and whatever else they got going on over there. America does just the exact opposite. America says you take our money, you're gonna speak our language. KFC is coming next. McDonald's is coming next. Burger King's coming next. Pizza Hut's coming next. Matter of fact, we're gonna put in our own puppet leaders. You understand what I'm saying? We're going to start changing the political dynamics and how you guys have been running your countries. That's the difference. That's why they said that, they ain't get it treated as cruelly as other nations. All the Edomite nations that conquered Africa, between the French, um, the Portuguese, the British, all of them speaking that language right now. They're speaking the language. English is predominant. They're over there rape robbing and stealing the resources. If you see that, there's a video. I forgot what country in Africa it is, but they did the lithium mines, which is for the batteries for the phones, the computers, solar charges, all that other stuff. If you see the scene, I gotta show it. It's like you. You see the scene, man. All the people that was out there. I think it was the lithium mines. Nah, see, they gonna act like, oh, it's just empty space. No. Yeah, see, big tech accused of using minerals mined by child labor. That's just one little video, but there's a video, man. They got, I mean, thousands of them out here laboring, laboring, looking for uh lithium for the batteries, man. And you know who's getting it? Apple got the kids out there. Uh, but nonetheless, I don't want to get distracted from it. But this is what they're talking about. Russia goes over there, gives them some money, gives them a little bit of influence, throws some military over there, and says, "Hey, let us post up over here, man. You can continue on doing what you're doing, right?" So here's the influence. This is what they're doing. Let's continue. Uh, Mike Pompeo sounds an alarm on China-Russia alliance. Biden is making an enormous strategic mistake. So here you got former military leaders who are out here acknowledging that Biden is slipping and he's getting ready to make a bad decision on how he's handling, how he's dealing with China and Russia. They basically said, man, they saying Slow Biden was saying that meeting that China and Russia just had, oh, that was no big deal. It's all good. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said Wednesday on America's Newsroom that Biden administration is making an enormous strategic mistake by seeking to downplay the meeting between China and Russia's president. See, that's the haughtiness that we just read about in Proverbs 18. So destruction comes before haughtiness. So he's saying, oh, that was no big deal. They're talking about changing the world. They're talking about we've got undying friend, dear friendships and all this other stuff. And these are both enemies of your state, and they're acknowledging in your face, we're coming together against you. And you say, please, I'm America. What are you going to do? I'm the great whore. I'm Babylon. I'm spiritual Egypt. I'm spiritual Sodom. The earth has been given into my hands. What are you talking about? Pompeo says the Biden foreign policy has failed, and Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin strengthened ties against the West. Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin signed an agreement to expand their economic ties during a bilateral meeting in Moscow on Tuesday. Xi arrived in Moscow for a multi-day series of meetings with his Russian counterpart aimed at destroying the two countries' new, quote, friendship without limits. Xi and Putin emphasized the importance of jointly safeguarding their country's energy security. Look at this. Iran, oop, no, U.S. contractor is killed in an Iranian suicide drone strike in Syria as Biden orders a retaliation precision airstrikes, taking out 11 militants tied to a Revolutionary Guard. So here we're seeing uh, drone strikes going on between America and Syria, Iran bombing. So there's another war that's going on right now that America's been hit. Russia just knocked down one of their drones. I mean, how many more times are they going to get back and get slapped up without real retaliation, without declaring war? There was a new, what was it? I think the guy, General Milley, he was getting interviewed, and one of the reporters asked him. They said, "Well, with this drone attack and this U.S. contractor being killed, because Iran hit them suicide drones at the base over there in Syria," and they said the reporter asked the general, they said, "Is this an act of war?" And the dude said, "This was this was a coordinated attack by Iran." Didn't answer if this was valid enough to go to war. He was avoiding saying, "Yeah, we're going. Yeah, this is act of war, man. We got to." They got to tiptoe around it because America's not ready to go to war yet. They ain't got all their stuff together. They're already spread too thin. They got to deal with Taiwan and China. They're still dealing with Ukraine and Russia. Now they're seeing dissension amongst the ranks, dealing with the Latin American countries. The economy's all jacked up. You know, they got too much going on, so they can't put themselves in a position to just declare war. So he said, no, calm down. This is something that they did, and we're just gonna have precision strikes. We're just gonna hit them back, and hopefully they don't, further this thing. You take one of ours, we take 11 of yours. Isn't that how the mafia works? Isn't that what they said in that one movie? What was it? I think it was Untouchables or whatever movie that was. I just remember, I think it was Robert De Niro saying, "You take one of mine, we take three of theirs." That's how America rolls. They took out one, America come back and hit them with 11 of them. But we see active war strikes going on over there. And what? Oh, this is an important part right here, right? We talked about this before. Now I just wanted to bring this out as a fun fact and more proof of what I was talking about in the scriptures. Jeremiah 49 and 35. We read that one before, and this is what I talked about with Iran or slash Persia slash Elam. They're all, Confederate. It's all the same. The bow being their principal, weapon of choice, right? Um, let me get another. Let me see here. So let's read this one first. Jeremiah 49:35. Thus says Yahweh, power of hosts. Behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. Okay. So knowing that the bow, the arrow, translated into today's terms, even as scriptures say, flying swords were equivalent to flying weapons, flying missiles, right? The Persians or the Iranians still maintain a fair knowledge about that particular type of technology. I made the I always make the analogy about the arrows coming from Persia from the 300. Y'all remember that? If y'all can see it, all this, specs and all that, that's supposed to be arrows coming from Persia, right? And King Artaxerxes was coming against uh what's the guy's name? Leonidas and the 300. And when he dealt with the messenger, and the messenger, when they told the messenger to, go kick rocks, we're not bowing down. And he said, "Man, we got so many arrows they'll block out the sun." And this is essentially the scene that they were showing with all the arrows that was coming and flying up. For anybody that hasn't seen 300, it's a good movie. Go check it out. I'm sure plenty of y'all have seen it and remember the scene I'm talking about. But this is what the scriptures is acknowledging about them breaking the bow. The Most High is going to break the bow of Elam, put them into subjection and captivity. Okay. Uh, Here's another thing. This regarding Persia. And how do we know it's the Persians? And then we also go back to um, Ezekiel. Oh, I'm all over the place, y'all. Bear with me. Isaiah 22:6. Let's read this as well. We'll read 5 and 6. It says, "For it is a day of trouble and treading down, and of perplexity by the most high power of hosts, in the valley of vision, breaking down the walls and crying to the mountains. And Elam bear the quiver." The quiver, speaking about the arrows, right? "With chariots of men and horsemen, and Ker uncovered the shield." So it's just showing you that Elam always loves, they love the arrows, the quivers, so forth and so on. So in today's terms, they like the missiles, they like the technology, the drones, um, those things, right? How do we know that Persia is the same as Elam? Looking down here, this is encyclopedia.com. On the other hand, we'll just read this real quick. On the other hand, the Persians came under the cultural influence of Elam and is in the Elamite language that accounts were kept in the Persian treasury at Persepolis in the Persian homeland as late as 459 BCE. So we see a merging of Elam coming in under the Persians. They adopted some of their ways, right? I showed the map last week where Elam was under the Persian Empire, just to show that. Because it's going to be important when we look at is this a good one? No, that ain't a good one. I want to see the one that shows Elam on there. Is this one got it? Nah, that ain't got it. But if y'all remember, I don't have a lot of time to keep searching for it, but nonetheless, if y'all remember, I had the map that had Elam on there. But Elam was around here. Because here's Persia. Elam was around in this area. This is all the Persians and the Mede Empire, right? Uh, Long story short, to show and prove that point and how that spirit is still translated to today, Persia, which is Iran, modern day Iran, it says Iran has the largest and most diverse Middle East missile arsenal. That's according to the US DIA. U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency has released a report on Iran's military power, saying the country has the largest missile arsenal in the Middle East, which it uses alongside unconventional warfare and cyber techniques to project power. So when we seeing how the Most High said he's got to bend the bow of Elam, speaking about Persia and Iran, the spirit's still showing you this is how they operate. This is their weapon of choice. This is why they had, they were sending these drones over there to Russia. This is technology Russia didn't have. They didn't have the stuff, but they knew how to get it. They had to get the higher grade, drones or whatnot. So now we're seeing how that translated. Okay, hopefully that makes sense for everybody, and we show and improve through the articles as well. Okay. Missile slam into another U.S. base. So, Iran came back again. Iran hit them once, killed one U.S. contractor. America comes back, knocks down 11, militants. Now, Iran comes and hits them back again. So now, is this going to be considered an act of war? Is America going to engage with what's going on with Iran? Are they going to get more aggressive? Time will tell. A missile slam into another U.S. base in Syria. Iran-backed militants retaliate hours after Biden ordered deadly precision airstrikes on their positions following a suicide drone attack that killed an American worker. So there's a back and forth right now going between Iran and the U.S. Will it escalate? Will Israel get involved? They're arch enemies with Iran. Time will tell. But the spirit of war is definitely stirred up. Look at it. After Iran, Saudi Arabia to reestablish ties with Syria, sources say. So now Saudi Arabia, we've seen the negotiated peace between Iran and Saudi Arabia. They were beefing for years. Now they've come together. Now they're bringing in Syria now to reestablish ties with them. So again, the nations are all coming together, breaking ties with America. And notice we see two of these particular nations, one being occupied, one having occupation with America, which is Syria. Iran, they going at it right now. Now Saudi Arabia saying, look, the hell with America, man. The three of us come together, man. We kick his butt up out of here and dare him to bomb all three of us. This is why they're all running over there to the BRICS too, so that they can have the backing of Brazil and China. Russia and China, India. You understand? So sides being chose. You see it. Let's continue. Northcom. Russia close to persistent nuclear missile. What am I reading? Russia close to persistent nuclear cruise missile attacks presence off the U.S. coast. That was weird the way it was reading. But anyway, they're talking about a U.S. A nuclear cruise sub is near the U.S. coast that America is continuing to monitor. Okay. We read the article weeks back about Iran traveling across the Pacific for the first time to set up shop in South America. Russia could have its most powerful and quiet nuclear attack submarines on persistent patrols off either U.S. coast in the next 2 years. The head of the U.S. North Command told the Senate Armed Services Committee on Thursday in response to questions from Senator Joni Ernst on the threat of Chinese and Russian cruise missile submarines operating close to the U.S., Northcom Commander General Glenn Van Herrick said that the deployments of the Russian Yasin-class nuclear cruise missile attack boats have been deploying more frequently. The risk is absolutely increasing. Within the last year, Russia also placed their Yasins in the Pacific. Now, not only the Atlantic, but we also have them in the Pacific, and it's just a matter of time, probably a year or two before that's a persistent threat, 24 hours a day. So that speaks for itself. America is close to being 24 hours a day on the clock of the threat of being bombed by Russia, with the increase of their subs patrolling around the coast of the U.S. Now they got to worry about China. Now they got to worry about the Latin American countries turning their back on America. Now they got to worry about Saudi Arabia, Syria, Iran coming together against the West. It's all going down. Putin arrest warrants prompt South Africa to seek legal advice. So now you see Esau leaning on South Africa because they're supposed to be having a meeting. Putin is supposed to come to South Africa. He's supposed to go to their summit for the BRICS, I believe, in August or something like that. And NATO in the West and Esau is going to South Africa saying, hey, listen, you niggas over here, man, if you gonna host him, we got a warrant for his arrest. We don't care about the damn BRICS. You're going to be in violation of international law if you don't subdue a criminal. So is South Africa going to cower down to the international courts and Esau, the other Edomites that's running the world, and say, well, you know what? Sorry, Putin, I gotta lock you up, man. Or would this be the breaking moment where they stand on 10 toes and say, nope, we ain't doing it. That's our ally. And if you don't like it, do something. Now, we know America will wipe South Africa off the map, but not with the backing that they have. So they're putting the pressure on them to do something about when and if they meet with Putin for their BRICS G20 meeting, whatever it is. They got a meeting coming up, I believe it's in August. and they're putting the pressure on South Africa to make a choice. All of those things could be breakneck moves that could enhance the factors of this war that's going on. All right, or the upcoming war. North Korea is still on the move. North Korea is threatening radioactive tsunami with new underwater drones. So remember, we read about the Valley of Jehoshaphat, man, that all the nations are turning their plowshares into swords. All the weapons is coming out. Everybody's got their defense spendings happening, right? North Korea is constantly out there threatening and showing off all their weapons. So they talking about radioactive tsunamis, underwater drones, blowing up America. That dude over there, Kim Jong Un, man, he's on one. And he stays coming at America and threatening South Korea. All right, so we see what he's up to. Look, North Korea claims almost 800,000 people have signed up for its military to fight the U.S. To fight the U.S. He claims he got 800,000 citizens alone that came in one day to come against America. See this? America's in trouble. America's in serious trouble. North Korea has claimed that about 800,000 of its citizens have volunteered to join or re-enlist in the nation's military to fight against the U.S. So the declaration is already on the table. They've already acknowledged, man, the fight is going to be against the U.S. They ain't even tripping about South Korea. They want the big fish. And this is why North Korea is over there cozying up with Brazil and, China. I mean, Brazil. I want to say the BRICS, but Russia and China is the superpowers of that coalition. And they're trying to rub elbows with them and showing off and saying, hey, I got stuff too I can bring to the table now. And we don't like America either. About 800,000 students and workers on Friday alone across the country expressed a desire to enlist or re-enlist in the military to counter the United States. North Korea's state newspaper Rodong Sinmun newspaper reported on Saturday. They said in one day, this is claimed, we're going to have to roll with it for now, 800,000 either re-enlisted or enlisted because they hate America. Imagine that. Kim Jong-un orders his troops to prepare for, quote, immediate and overwhelming nuclear counterattack against enemies as he accuses the U.S. of holding aggressive military drills with Seoul using nuclear assets. So Kim Jong-un is turning up the heat. He wants to go to war right now. Now, China and Russia is telling him, fall back. We got to have this economic structure set up off of the ashes of America. We can't just bomb him out and then we ain't got nothing in place to take over. Let us get this damn money together. Let's get this economy together. Let's get everybody on board. We're riding around collecting assets and you running around here ready to start war. Slow down. That's why Trump called him Little Rocket Man. You dig what I'm saying? Because he's ready to, you got to calm him down, man. A little pudgy, Google, let me be nice. YouTube will do some foolishness. Little chubby, Moabite over there. He wants to get cracking. And he's being held back a little bit. I'm sure that there's some influence coming from outside sources that he respects. It's not because they fear America like that. Some may say, man, he just loves bluffing, talking crazy. I'm of the opinion, man, that he's being held back because that's not the plan. The plan is take out the gray whore, then we can take over. We'll divvy up the power after that. That's what they think they're going to do. Look at Trump ratchets up violent rhetoric, warns of death and destruction over possible charges. So, I did the DSTM on Wednesday. He put out there, and I showed y'all the video last week, the news report last weekend. He said he expects to be arrested on Tuesday and all that. I'm saying that's a distraction. It's cap. We ain't seeing, nothing going on right now. But Trump keeps ratcheting it up and doubling down. Now he's saying, he was encouraging protests. He wants another January 6th or worse, because now he done stepped up and said, if I get arrested, death and destruction is coming. That dude's a maniac, man. Uh, he knows damn well they're not finna let him be president again. But he's good for entertainment. He's good as a distraction. He takes the mind out. Just when the banks is all crashing, they got to print up more money. They run around here, just increase the interest rates again. The economy's still jacked up. Eggs is record prices. Bird flu going. Everybody mind on these bank glitches. Wells Fargo saying, "Oops, your balance may not be right. Can't access your money. Oh, this bank collapsed. We got to bail them out. We got a number of different banks lined up saying we need help too. Things might go left on us if there's a bank running. People want their money. What do they do? Hey, roll out Trump, man. Um, we need to distract everybody with him. Yeah, forget about everything that we just got through reading about all of the aspects of war and World War III that's getting ready to go down, and that's already pretty much engaged. I mean, World War III is already underway. Forget all of that, man. Roll him out there because he's always going to be the distraction for everybody. No, he ain't been arrested. Ain't nobody came at him. The New York DA, he didn't shut down the damn uh the grand jury investigation, something like that for the whole week. He pretty much done canceled out and said, "Hold on, we'll leave it alone for right now." And Trump's still out there woofing big stuff, man. Come after me, man. It's death and destruction. Bodies is dropping. He talking real gangster. Proverbs 10 and 11 says, the mouth of a righteous man is a well of life, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. Violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. So you see what he's talking about. Death and destruction over possible charges. I mean, we're talking about this is like probably a misdemeanor. If anything, I'm assuming you done prayed off a damn prostitute. Okay, in their world, that ain't no big deal. And it was like 6, 7 years ago. So whatever the statute of limitations is on that, it's probably passed by now. So that's all we can see, man. All of this, you digging up this foolishness, is all a distraction, man. I seriously doubt they're gonna arrest this dude. If they do, it's just because some big time political theater event needs to happen because they got something bigger else that's finna go down, and he can be used as the tool to distract everybody while they're ushering in, some new technological change that's going to be happening over the world before they usher in some cyber attack, before they usher in a false flag bomb that's going to set off, the real engagement of World War III. Who knows? But best believe everything we seeing ain't real. Look at this. Trump shares a chilling picture threatening the Manhattan DA with a baseball bat while warning death and destruction will come if degenerate psychopath charges him in Stormy Daniels' hush money campaign. So this is supposedly, he didn't created this holding the bat, looking at a picture of the Jake who's supposed to be the DA who's bringing up charges on him, like he gonna hit him upside the head with a bat. This is gonna charge up all of them damn meth head, the degenerate red hat wearing Trump supporters, man. Oh, we're gonna get him. Yeah, he's back. The Messiah's back. Let's get out there. Load up. Billy Bob. Jeffro. Let's go. You understand? All they gotta do is go set up this foolishness. Let's continue on. Look at it. Deutsche Bank shares slide after sudden spike in the cost of insuring against its default. Deutsche Bank is one of the largest banks, if not the largest bank in Germany, one of the bigger banks in Europe. That one is now on the brinks of failure. That whole thing with their share sliding wrecked the stock markets again last week. what was it, Friday and Thursday, the markets is all jacked up. You understand what I'm saying? So now we're looking at a big major bank facing the same thing that we've seen with uh Credit Suisse over there, the Silicon Valley Bank, and the other banks that collapsed. So this bank, this is serious. If that bank falls, the European economy and their banking system is really gonna be in trouble. Because they ain't, me and Aladab was talking about it. Europe don't run off a gang of, mom and pop banks. There's not a bunch of U.S. banks and credit unions and, you know, this savings, whatever, Johnson Savings and Loans. And, you know what I'm saying? That they ain't got all of them. They got a couple of major banks that the whole country operates through. If those things fall to that's it. Deutsche Bank is, I think, the number one bank in Germany. And there's one other rival. I think Germany only got like two banks, and this was like the biggest one. That one falters. You can forget about it. America got Bank of America. They got Chase. They got Citibank. They got Wells Fargo. They got um what other ones that they got? I don't know, but you pretty much get the idea. America's got is the banking capital of the world, man. They got banks all over the place. But now these bigger banks in Europe, these solely controlled banks, this one's going to collapse. It's going to be a problem, and it is in trouble right now. Look at the major Disney layoffs. The happiest place on earth. I thought that ain't it no more. Layoffs coming to Disney. Described as a bloodbath. Didn't we just see that about bloodbath with Meta and Facebook with their layoffs? But I thought the economy's fine, man. Your money, the banks are secure. Everything's great. Calm down. Unemployment numbers is up. I mean, it's down. It's been great. But we read about this. I said it last summer. 50% of corporations were going to be laying off in 2023. And they said within the next 6 to 9 months, which leads us into the first quarter of 2023, massive layoffs is happening and will continue to happen, especially now that they raised the interest rates again for jobs, businesses, and everybody else to operate. It's going to be more costly to operate many of these businesses that they're going to say, well, we can't afford all these people. We got to let people go. So Disney, they're laying off 7,000, and cuts are coming soon. Amazon laid off some more thousand. We covered that one. So the tech sector, bloodbath for sure. The labor sector now is creeping in that fashion. So Disney down. Job listing. This was so ironic. Look at this. Job listing company. Indeed. That commercial and that company that's supposed to list jobs, that's supposed to help you find jobs, even they're laying off. Can you imagine? How ironic is that? They're supposed to be the ones helping you find jobs, and they laying off 2,200 employees. So we see where this is going. Students struggle academically to fight in schools amid Adderall shortages. Children who can't get their ADHD medications can't control their impulses, says a Florida teacher. So now they got a shortage on Adderall. Now they're even acknowledging, man, the kids can't even pass their classes, can't even go to school without drugs now. I've shared this article before. I'm going to share it again. Look at it. 70% of Americans on medication. Have we become a pill culture? You damn right. You damn right. 70% of Americans is on a prescription drug. That's prescribed. We ain't talking about illegal. You add in the fentanyl, the weed, the lean, the crack, the heroin, the various other opioid drugs that's going on. I mean, come on. That number can easily go to like 95, 97% of Americans is on drugs. And now they're acknowledging that the students who supposedly got ADHD, they're losing control, can't pass through school without their drugs now. So now we got a dependent youth that's, drug dependent now, popping pills in order to stay focused in school or even care about school anymore. Students nationwide who take medications that treat attention deficit hyperactivity disorder are struggling to behave and concentrate due to a continuing shortage of the drugs. Shortage of the drugs because they got popping everybody on them. They got the psychologists already lined up, the counselors already lined up in the schools, prescribing like crazy. There is no treatment. Everything is just pop some pills. As much as these Jakes like Charlemagne the God and all them talking about we need to get therapy. The therapists don't do nothing but listen to your problems, man, and then prescribe you some damn drugs to mentally suppress these spirits that's on people, man. And now you see what's happening when the spirits is on. They can't get the drugs to suppress the spirits. They saying they can't. They struggling to behave and concentrate. It's now the demons is taking over. You understand? So that was interesting to see that. Drug shortages for Adderall and kids can't concentrate. Now you can expect the classrooms to be more wild and more out of control. I mean, we already seen out here in California the strikes. LAUSD is on strike. I mean, thousands of teachers, staff, everybody, the cafeteria workers, everybody's like, we're not with it. They had to shut. I think they closed the schools down earlier this week because the because of the strike. Psalm 78 and 5. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers that they should make them known to their children. What's the commandment? That the law and the testimonies of Jacob are taught to the children. That's our jobs as parents. That's a commandment. You don't sit the kid in front of the TV so he can watch Blues Clues on Sesame Street all damn day. You don't let YouTube videos and tech raise the kids. No, you've got to be instrumental in teaching your children. That's a commandment. Verse 6, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and to declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in the Most High and not forget the works of the Most High, but keep his commandments. That's the lesson. That's what we teach. That's what we're supposed to be educating our children on. Yeah, you got to learn the fundamentals of math, history, science, all the other stuff to get through Esau's system. If you go that route, homeschooling is always an option. Now, granted, in order to get accredited, you have to cover certain topics of educational study so that your homeschool can be accredited and your child can be seen as a graduate of the school system. But there's other way you can teach them how you want to teach them. As long as the curriculum is covered, you're good. You got other homeschools, that have the curriculum already set for you. You can learn their way, but at the same time, you still got to be instrumental in uh supervising the readings and the information that they're intaking, correcting what's false and what's right. You understand what I'm saying? You still have to be instrumental in it because it's important. What ends up happening? If we don't, it says what? And might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart aright and whose spirit was not steadfast with the Most High. That's what ends up happening when and if we aren't instrumental in teaching our kids and having a hand on what they're learning, what they're intaking, and whatnot. Outside influences raise them. Next thing you know, their spirit's not going to be steadfast with the Most High. They're going to forget about the history, forget about the generational uh, pedigree of our people. They're going to become stubborn and rebellious. You understand? And that's how it trickles down. It becomes generational cursings. We got to stop the brakes, pump the brakes somewhere. Why not with your offspring, my offspring? You understand what I'm saying? Because if you look at it like this, the way the system is set up, uh, Esau gives most jobs give like 3 months uh maternity leave. That's 90 days, man. 90 days the baby bond in most case scenarios. 90 days after you give birth, man. You got 90 days the baby bond before you got to find a babysitter and get back to work. Imagine that single mother who's a victim of the curses of Deuteronomy 28 and 54, with a father that left the kids, and she's the sole provider, and now she's stuck with this baby, 9 month old, 3 month old, that somebody else has got to raise while she goes back to work. So from 3 months old, somebody else is raising that child. From the time she got to be at work at 8 o'clock, and she get off at 4:30, then she got to traffic and everything else. By the time she gets to pick up the baby, it's 5:30. You finally get the baby sleep. The only thing you can do is nurse, get it back to sleep. You go through that cycle. So for 3 months, then you got to put them in daycare at 3 years old or whatever. Daycare, now they moving to preschool to kindergarten to first grade, all the way to 12th grade. You see how the system is automatically set up to where we go out, kill ourselves to live, trying to make ends meet to provide for the kids. But meanwhile, somebody else has raised them from 3 months all the way up to 12th grade. 3 to 18 years old, somebody's implementing thoughts, ideologies, understandings, everything else in there. And most parents is out here running around trying to figure out how to survive. Some partake in their children's lives. Some of them, deal with it. Even when it comes down to, yeah, I'm in my child's life, man. I got them in karate. I got them in soccer. I got them in basketball. Okay, yeah, but guess what? That's all cool. But the coach and the coaches are then looked at as the next figures who are raising up your kids, who are creating, motivation for them, who are creating different ideologies about hard work and work, work ethic and all this other stuff. You still don't have that influence in them. And then outside of that, you got some damn counselors and therapists saying, here, and we need to throw them on these drugs too. See how the generations get lost? It's a whole system, man. It's a whole system. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But this is where we're at. We got to break those things and get back to the roots of getting our heritage back, getting to understanding who we are, fearing the Most High, keeping the commandments, and learning our true histories, man. It's important. It's important. Let's continue. Hundreds of LASBs shut down, workers on strike. We're seeing that, second largest in the school district. We just talked about that. Violence is still going on in France, man. They still wilding out over that the pension, and the president of France, man, Macron, he doubled down and said, I ain't changing. I don't give a damn if you tear up the streets or not. I'm sending out the police tear gas and batons and beating your butts. But I'm not changing. So France is in upheaval right now over there. That's continuing on. We've been covering that, looking at that for the last couple of months. It ain't nothing changing. Actually, they've been riding for a while over there, off and on. But this one right here with the pensions, they ain't having it, man. People's out there in the streets wilding out. Uproars of the people are continuing. From LA, USD, teachers and all of that, all the way to France. Miami Beach mayor calls for a spring break ban after man is shot dead on the sidewalk. Partygoers jump on cars, fights break out in the streets, and shops get trashed despite a 12 a.m. curfew. This is the wickedness of the people, man. Jeremiah 4:22 says, my people are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. This is the reveling that the Most High was speaking about, saying that this type of behavior and activity is not going to be in the kingdom of heaven in 2 Corinthians 6 and 9. The revilers, the riotous behavior is going on. That ain't this, but this is what America encourages. They said, well, you can wild out, man. Just stop at 12 a.m. And they had this one on video, man, when the Jake got shot. I mean, it was so random. I don't know if anybody else seen it, but man, it's Jake just walking down the street with a female. It was a crowded little street. And some Jake just came out the crowd of nowhere, walking right up on this brother, man, shot him in the head, shot some more on the ground, and then took off. It had to have been personal. They must have known each other. Something must have go down. But just to see a random cat just get popped in the head on the street as they're partying and reveling over here in uh uh Miami, we see what happened. But notice, even Yahweh Shah said it's gonna be like the days of Noah, where they're gonna be marrying and giving into marriage and eating and drinking and partying and all of that in Matthew 24. Uh Shit, look at it. Well, let's just look at the chapter. So verse 20, chapter 24 of Matthew. We'll read 36 down to 38. It says, "But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving into marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark." So this is what they out here doing: drinking, eating, partying, hanging out, marrying, giving into marriage, fornicating, adultery, the whole nine, living their best life, as they say. And now we're seeing what ends up happening. Let's continue. Exclusive inside Haley Biden's toxic relationship. Now, I'm always get on slow Biden in this household, man. As much as they love to talk about black folks and our dysfunctional households and this, that, and the third, man, the president, as I said before, he got the background like they grew up in the hood. He's a career politician, been in the game damn near 50 years, but his household is a mess, and he's been living like a nigga. Inside Halle Biden's Halle Biden's toxic relationship with President's family, from twisted affair with Hunter. Remember, we covered that before. She was married to his brother Bo Biden. Bo Biden died, and then she had an affair with Hunter Biden, his crackhead son, the one with the laptop, the one that's filming himself naked, smoking crack, and laying up with prostitutes in Thailand, all other Chinese prostitutes. I mean, that dude, you know what I'm talking about. Twisted affair with Hunter, who lavished her with expensive gifts and put her on his payroll to her crack cocaine addiction and rehab stints paid for by Joe. So, his daughter-in-law, she smoked, she was on crack. His son smoking crack. The son was funding her crack habits. They was getting high together. Slow Biden was paying for the rehab and for the crack. This is unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. But just had to bring that up, man. As much as he run around here acting like he got his together, he ain't got it together, man. His household is a mess. The scriptures say, man, you can't even go out and you shouldn't even be trying to get out and do no work, or at least be aware that you're trying to work and get your household in order. This guy's leading the world and ain't leading the world, and his house is all out of order. What happened? Second is Dris 14. 14 and hold on, I think I went too far. Yeah, look at 14. Second is 14 and verse 13. It says, "Now therefore set thine house in order." And he's instructing Ezra on what to do as it pertains to going out, teaching the people, getting things set up, right? He says, "Now therefore set thine house in order and reprove thy people. Comfort such as them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times." So he was receiving understanding in regards to the times we're living in. A tenth part of the world had already been destroyed. 2 parts is left therein. I mean, that's a whole nother lesson regarding the 12 parts. We'll talk about that maybe in the future. But anyway, one of the things that he was instructed to do, he says, set thine house in order and reprove thy people. So one thing that we have to always continually work on, especially us men, is keeping our houses in order, right? And then go out and continue to reprove the people. Slow Biden's house is out of order. This is why America is all fumbling and crumbling. He's the perfect president, man. Matter of fact, hopefully he does run for in 2024. That'll definitely be the spell in the end of America. Because ever since he's been in there, he ain't been in there but 2.5 years. And look how bad things have gotten. Let him come back in 2024, man. We can pretty much sign and seal and deliver America over to over to the bombs and missiles and the chariots of destruction. You dig what I'm saying? Let him stay up in there. All right, let's continue on. Look at this idiot, man. I had to pull this one out too. I like babies more than people. Biden brings Democrat son very close after he cried during a speech on the 13th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act. Biden stopped Republican Jimmy Gomez from taking his fussy baby out of the room during his remarks at the White House on Thursday. That's all right. We like babies. You don't have to worry about it, Biden said. Matter of fact, I like babies better than people. At what point in time is a baby not a person? Can somebody help me with that? Are babies people too? Or are these some little alien beings that he's, holding on to? Or is that some kind of strange you know, pedophilia type? Let me calm down. Let me calm down. I don't want I don't need no problems, YouTube. But that's just a weird thinking to say you like babies more than people as if the baby isn't a person, man. How do you look at these babies, man? That's the question. What do you see a baby as? Or is this just some slip of the tongue, some more folly that comes out the mouth of slow Biden? You decide. Oh, Biden's approval rating plunges close to its lowest point of his presidency at a dire 38% in the new poll. Voters still question if the 80-year-old should run again with just 31% backing how he's dealt with the economy. Oh, so he's on the downswing too. More downfall for America, more downfall for his leadership, more downfall for slow Biden. We see what's happening. Biden signed his first veto of his presidency by blocking Republican crackdown on ESG and 401ks, claims the MAGA House wing is putting retirement savings at risk by getting rid of social and environmental factors. Now, this is important because slow Biden put in a motion out there to tell companies with 401k plans that they had to start installing investments in the Green New Deal and the energy and conservation movements and all the other stuff. So, in other words, trying to control people's 401ks. And the Republicans was like, nah, you can't do that. We're not doing that. And wrote out a bill and said, we're going against that, slow Biden. And what did he do? He used his first veto, which means he overrode the decision of the House and said, no. Everybody's 401ks and retirement plans are going to be compromised into help funding his Build Back Better plan, into help funding this green energy deals and all of that, environmental companies and stuff like that. You ain't even got no say so. Most people with 401ks, man, most of us don't know about, creating portfolios and controlling what you invest in, what you don't in. You just got one firm and your job or whoever, and they just select an investment company to do everything for you. Those are the ones that's going to be saying, "Oh, well, President said we gotta invest in some of these energy sectors. We're going to go ahead on and invest some of those things." As we're seeing a lot of those things collapsing, crumbling right now. You seen slow Biden? He just came out in his speech a couple months ago where he said, "Oh, we're going to need gas. We're going to need coal for at least another 10 years." And everybody in the House, all the Republicans started laughing at him because they was like, "You dummy, we've been saying that. You don't have the means to run off of uh there's not enough lithium." I covered that last year. There's not enough lithium right now to even fund all this, all the idea of having, nothing but solar power and smart this, that, and the third in your houses and homes. It was like we don't even have enough to do what he's talking about. Because he was saying by 2030 it should be done. We're off of all gas, everything. Now he came back and said, we're gonna need it for about another 10 years. So one minute he's saying we're still gonna invest in coal and natural gas and all of that. And then the other one he's saying, but I want everybody's 401ks to have a retirement system lined up to where they can get some of that money. You see what I'm saying? Chat GPT CEO admits he is scared the bot could be used for large scale disinformation and cyber attacks. Take that as it is. You already know. As the AI revolution is continuing, the Chat GPT, we already seen, and I've covered a story where they talked about by 2025, all of the internet activity is going to be controlled by AI. I think it's 90% of content on the internet is going to be AI generated. That thumbnail that I put up with Trump getting arrested, that was AI created that. Look real as hell. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of stuff they can do. We already see the deep fakes. We already seen the voiceovers videos going on. Disinformation now being written out, cyber attacks, fact checker, and sites that's already been programmed through the algorithms. Anytime you ask is something true, they already got their algorithms written up. AI first things come up. First two sites on there, some fact checkers telling you what's true and what isn't true, controlling the narrative, controlling the thought patterns, socially experimenting with everybody who's locked in on the phones and the matrices of information. Now the CEO saying, "Oh, this little Frankenstein that we made, it could be used for evil." You think? That's the whole point. But the fact that he's putting it out there ahead of time is basically like, don't blame me. I said I was scared that they're gonna use this against us. He knew what he was making for in the beginning. So just know that it's gonna make my job a lot easier, your job a lot easier, as we're trying to unfold and look for the truth. They're gonna be hard at work trying to make sure that it don't come out. Large scale disinformation and cyber attacks on the way. AI develops cancer treatment in 30 days, predicts a survival rate. This is what makes they put a story like this out there to have people have faith in AI. No, we need AI. Look what AI is doing. Oh yeah, we need Chat GPT. We need this stuff. Look at the advancements that's happening. Look at the technological things that we can do. Imagine the possibilities. But there's always a backdoor evil, man, and that's really what they want to use it for. Artificial intelligence has developed a treatment for cancer in just 30 days and can predict a patient's survival rate. So you're trying to tell me the programmers of AI had all this information, programmed this artificial intelligence to create a cancer treatment in 30 days when supposed humans, the same ones that created the AI, couldn't figure out how to create a cure. Do you follow where I'm going with this? My point is that they've been collecting and making billions of dollars for cancer research for umpteenth years. And they constantly saying, "Oh, we got this experiment. We don't know if this will work. We don't know if that'll work." All of a sudden, these same scientific minds created AI, program and put all the information in the damn thing. So the information comes from the creator. And now AI all of a sudden knows how to create a cancer treatment, but the humans that created the AI couldn't. Sounds like a racket to me. Sounds like a hustle to me. Sounds like some fraud going on to me. That's just my opinion. Because you know how much money will be taken out of the pharmaceutical industry? You know how much money be taken from the hospitals if all of a sudden they had this cancer cure out like that? That will shut down a lot of industry, a lot of money. So those things have to continue on. People have to continually suffering. They continually make technologies and information, technologies and systems and food and poison air supplies and water to up the cancer rates so that they can continue on saying, oh, as long as this is still alive, as long as this is still developing and it's increasing, we need more money. We need more funding. We need more hospitalizations. We need more. But meanwhile, AI comes out in 30 days. Oh, I got the cure. Very interesting. In a new study published in the journal Chemical Science, researchers at the University of Toronto, along with in silico medicine, developed a potential treatment for hepatocellular carcinoma with an AI drug discovery platform called Pharma.ai. HCC is the most common type of liver cancer and occurs when a tumor grows on the liver, according to Cleveland Clinic. Researchers applied at AlphaFold, an AI-powered protein structure database, to PharmaAI.ai or .ai to uncover a novel target, a previously unknown treatment pathway for cancer, and develop, quote, a novel hit molecule that could bind to the target without aid. Very interesting that now all of a sudden AI is the one that's going to revolutionize medicine. Not the creators of it though. They had the sauce, but they wasn't going to be the ones to put it out there because they need everybody to buy into AI. So AI can now control and run everything. Look at this. Idaho poised to allow firing squad executions in some cases. So they're bringing firing squads back. I think they also voted for it in the Carolinas. Let me see if I remember. South Carolina. Let me see. Yeah, see that? Firing squad execution in South Carolina set for next week was halted. Idaho, South Carolina, Mississippi, and Oklahoma. Hey, Robinsons, man, y'all be safe out there. You see Esau out there, he's trying to shoot down people. How much longer before they get back to, doing the, I heard, everybody heard the rumors about the guillotines and everything else. 5 states already want to do open executions, firing squads. What better way? How much faster would it be just to do mass executions, man? All the rebels, all of the ones that's against the system, line them up, shoot them down. Very interesting if they get that pass. Amazon has rolled out contactless tech for 200 locations, including Panera cafes. We've talked about this before. I'm not saying that this is the beast that marks. It's the technology that's part of the beast system that introduces the beast that marks, and it ain't on a computer chip. I showed the video. I did a little short. Amazon Fresh and that store right now, it's all biometric. So yeah, you're gonna use your hand, you're gonna use your palm. They're already doing iris scans in your forehead. No, they already doing that stuff. At the DMV, they doing it at the airports with TSA and identifying you. You just seen last week, I think it was last week where I did the digital ID program that they was rolling out in Canada and in Australia. Everything was locked in on the phone. So what do they do with Amazon? Oh, put your card number in, program it in, match it with your ID, slide your card in, put your palm on top so it can read your palm. Now your palm is now interactive with your debit card. So no longer you need to pull your card out. All you got to do is go scan your hand. The biometrics will link to your card, and boom, you go buy whatever you need. Amazon is leading the charge now. They got 200 locations. That's going to be the new wave. And I showed the video that the female, she went in and bought a little protein drink, and she smiling, laughing off how easy it was. It was so great. So they want people to buy into the AI, buy into the um, contactless thing, because that's what part of the pandemic was about. Putting in the idea of being contactless, stay away, 6 feet, quarantine, stay, order online. You don't need to go out. Remember, we talked about the 15-minute smart cities and everything being aligned with a digital ID backed by a social credit score. This is all part of the plan. And you see who some of the leaders are. You notice how Amazon's laying off, but now they're instituting robotics even more. So robots and AI can come in and take over. And then if you want the conveniences of being able to shop, we can make it easy. Oh, you forgot your wallet at home? No problem. Your hand still works, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, boom. Somebody stole your wallet. Somebody stole your purse, ma'am. You don't have your cards anymore? Don't worry, they won't be able to use it because it's all biometrically scanned through your hands. As soon as we catch somebody trying to use it, they'll be arrested immediately. Isn't that cool? And that's when you say, yeah, I love it. You dig what I'm saying? That's where we're at. Proud Boys left bloody in a class outside New York City drag story hour. So, this is more divisiveness in America, Satan being divided against itself. The racist Proud Boys fighting against the LGBTQ plus HIV community. And here they saying that the sodomites got the best of the Proud Boys. So this is where we at, man. Proud Boys went out to go protest at a drag story event. It got physical. And, they saying left bloody, man. They got the Edomite right here. The little blood is the scratch on the face. It make it sound like they got mopped up and they was leaking all over the place. I mean, from this picture, this is the only blood I seen was, the Edomite got scratched in the face. But they made it sound like, man, the sodomites got the best of them. So more evidences of America and the downfall of this place. Chilling cannabis warning to young women smoking THC in your teens may slash your egg count in half, a study suggests. So no, it's not all good smoking weed and doing all other stuff. I've done classes on that in times past. Maybe I'll resurrect to come back again, do it. The dangers of weed, because even in the Israelite community, you got some who's out there condoning weed, prophesying high, and doing all kind of folly. But mainly amongst our community, especially the rap community, the entertainment community, much of the YouTube videos, and these cats that's out here doing their little reaction videos and everything else, they all smoking weed. The influence is heavy. And we've always talked about, smoking weed can diminish your sperm count. They say, oh, no, it doesn't do that, man. It's medicinal. It's okay. Now they're talking about how smoking weed in your teens can slash your egg count. Another method of population control. I've shown even the patent that America holds for weed. They also hold a patent for Molly. You understand? That's why I said America's involved in drug dealing, man. They know what they're doing. When he legalizes it, man, don't think it's because he loves you. He's got other methods. They're saying most of the accidents that happened in 2022 is because either somebody was high or drunk. As much as they talking about, I drive better when I'm high. I can't tell. The statistics say that it was more accidents from people driving high and drunk than anything else. But that's for another day. But it's just information. Young mothers out there smoking weed thinking it's cool may not be able to populate again. Imagine that. We made it, y'all. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, man. Made it. Right on time, man. Right on time. Yeah, that's right. Sis. Whole Foods is where they're rolling it out. And of course, always the places where, the better options is supposed to be at. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, the healthier food, the healthier choices. This is where all the medicines, the teas, and the clean things is at. If you want in, you're gonna have to compromise. Well, not yet. I mean, I know that they're making that's an option there, but it's not the sole way to buy yet. Not yet, but they will. That's the goal. That's the goal. All right. You said 2 years seems like forever. Nah, man. Remember, Yahweh Shah said the time gonna be cut short for the elect's sake, man. Time is flying, bro. Time is flying. It's gonna be here before you know it. Gonna be here before you know it. You dig what I'm saying? Hezekiah, what's good, my brother? Russia's getting rid of their old weaponry in the battles in Ukraine when the U.S. posed sanctions on Iran, stopping the production of nuclear weapons. Russia said some build. Yeah, it's all strategic. It's all strategic. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. All right, y'all. I got to run. Got some more work to do. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Yahweh Shai. I'll be back at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Oh, before I go, um, Passover. Passover is fastly approaching. Fastly approaching, man. We'll be keeping ours on April 4th. I pray everybody else is in the spirit and keeping it as well. My brothers over there at Believers of the Way bow with the assistance of my brother Elder Rhyme did a class last night regarding clearing up discrepancies with Passover, confusion about Passover. They helped do a job for me because I was going to try to cover a lot of stuff regarding that during the time, but the brothers did a good job last night in covering many of the topics that I no longer will have to do. So, all praises, man. I put the link to their video in the description. Click on that link. It's titled Clearing Up Passover Confusion. Click on that link. Many of the questions that you may have in regards to calculating the Passover, the do's and don'ts of the Passover, further understanding regarding the representations of the Passover, all is there. I co-sign it. Those are my brothers over there. So, yeah, they reduce my workload a little bit. So please check that video out if you got questions regarding Passover. Make sure you're doing your quote unquote spring cleaning, getting yourselves prepared and ready for the upcoming seasonal spring feast day known as Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, man. Prayerfully, man, everybody else as well, and enjoys the rest of your Shabbat. Again, I'll be back, Lord willing, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to talk about Matthew 25 and the 10 virgins. Matthew 25 and the 10 virgins. Very pertinent class because it's going to be somewhat of an instructional how to stay lit during these end times and preparing ourselves for our marriage with the bridegroom. All right. So be sure to check that one out. We'll be coming up later on this afternoon, man. Until then, man, y'all be well. All praise, honor, going to the Most High. Continue to fear him and keep his commandments and don't shoot your messenger. Shalom.